What is up, everybody? It's your boy Duty back again with another video, and that's right, folks. It's that time of the week where we take a look at DSP Gaming and DSP React's finances, and we check to see if the business is still in the black. That's right, folks. And this week, our boy Phil had some major setbacks, not only with his health, not only with his marriage, but the business is in peril and in danger, folks. That's right. As you guys know, our boy Phil had some trouble with Comcast earlier in the week, and then after Comcast, of course, Phil apparently got sick. That's right. Phil got so sick that he ended up getting swollen brain syndrome, and apparently it looks like he also has COVID. That's right. But he won't get tested. He's just making the assumption. And thank God for Advil. Yes, that's what our boy Phil said. Advil is keeping Phil alive. That's right, folks. But anyway, we're not here to talk about DSP health. We're here to talk about DSP gaming and the business and the liquidity. That's right, folks. And we all know that today is Phil's official day off, even though he's managed to make no income for 3 days in a row. That's right. And we are counting that as a zero tip, zero support day. That's right, folks. Because even though Phil doesn't stream, technically it's still his day of business. And just because Phil decided to not do any work doesn't mean that we are going to ignore that it was a work day. That's right, folks. So let's get into it, folks. As you guys know, this work week started on October 27th and spanned through November 1st. Where, like I stated, for 3 days in a row, Phil has gotten zero support. So October 30th to 31st and November 1st, Phil has gotten $0. That's right, folks, which has been very hard for Phil. It's been very difficult, especially being that October 31st was supposed to be the spooky marathon where Phil was hoping to get many tips, for drinking gin and being a fool and dressing up like some Muppet. But that didn't happen, folks. The Halloween special was canceled. Derek was very upset the tier list wasn't shown. That's right, folks. But anyway, yes. So let's take a look at the numbers for the work week. That's right. So for the work week, Phil managed to pull in $352. That's right, folks. Trash. Utterly abysmal. That is the worst work week Phil has had probably ever. That's right. $352 in tips. It was so bad that even 1 Minute Man did not tip. That's right. Because apparently 1 Minute Man doesn't tip if Phil doesn't come on stream and act a fool. That's right. So no tips from 1 Minute Man for 3 days. So of course, Phil only has $352 for WWE Champions, Gin, and for the day off. That's right. And as he mentioned in the video that I posted earlier, it looks like he ordered everything in. So apparently he probably had to use some of his YouTube check to fund the day off. That's right, folks. And don't worry, he's definitely going to get DoorDash. There's no way he's not going to get DoorDash. And it seems like this week, while he's been sick, he's actually been DoorDashing every single meal. And we heard from Phil that Kat, that's right, Kat is apparently sick as well. So she has COVID as well. Mind you, he won't get tested, which testing is actually free. He won't get tested to confirm he has COVID, but he'll go around and spill nonsense like the idiot he is. Anyway, but again, I digress. So for the work week, Phil managed to pull in, for Super Chats, $144, which again is abysmal. If it wasn't for October 27th, his first day back, he would have been up Shit's Creek. And I think that was the Alan Wake stream where he made okay. He made out all right for Alan Wake. And then the night stream was Mario Brothers, I think, which wasn't so great. But if it wasn't for that 1 day of support, Phil would have had a terrible week. And I'm not sure if the lights would have remained on at DSP Gaming. That's how abysmal it is. So for the work week, Phil managed to pull in $496 for 2.5 days of work. That's right. And that is just terrible, abysmal, you name it. It's not good for Phil. It is not good. And then again, these are raw numbers. These are gross numbers. So this isn't taking into factor PayPal's cut, YouTube's cut, and taxes. So this 496 number is probably closer to about, close to the 275 or 300 bucks. And of course, you guys know super chats, he doesn't get that right away. He gets that at the end of the month. That's right. So he won't see any benefit for super chats until the following check. And mind you, speaking of the October check is going to be abysmal. And I'll get into that in a few minutes here of why it's going to be just bad. On top of the terrible support, his views tanked. His views on both of his channels, DSP Gaming and DSP Reacts, was just god tier terrible. And we'll get into that in a minute. So as you guys see, he made $496 for the work week. We compare that to what he made last week, which wasn't so great either. Last week he made $700 in tips, $541 in super chats, for a grand total of $1,241. And we know that Phil has been going on a rampage on WWE Champions. So he has none of that money to fall back on. He wasted all of that money from last week. And I'm pretty sure the $352 in tips is already gone. That's right, because we confirmed that even though Phil was sick as a dog, he still managed to log in the WWE Champions. That's right, the consecutive login play streak is still in effect, folks. I believe he's up to 2,103 days. That's right, Phil. Phil's an amazing dude. It doesn't matter what hits him. It doesn't matter what attacks him, whether it's a virus, whether it's COVID, whether it's the Kung Flu. It doesn't matter because Phil's resilient and WWE Champions always takes precedence. That's right, folks. Alrighty, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the monthly totals for Phil. So we've been tracking this back to April, and of course you guys know that in April he had about $4,600. May he did really good. That was Street Fighter. That was when Jinx was just wailing out on him. He made $6,879, which was his high mark this year. And then in June it dipped to $5,700. And then for July, it started significantly dipping. This summer of retro and other stuff was just god awful for Phil. He made $4,000 in July. And again, these are just tips and super chats. And then in August, oh my god, it even dipped more. $3,386. And then in September, remember folks, early in September, he did this Beg Alert, this massive Beg video. And that's when he decided to start talking about his daily goals. And he set a daily goals of memberships and a daily goals of tips, of hitting the tier 1 tip goal at least once a day. And then of course that extended to twice a day. So he bounced back in September with some extra money. So he made $5,186. Now for October, that dipped again. So he managed to make $4,891 for October. And he got lucky. He got lucky with that. The only reason why it's that amount is because there were a couple days in there where he did get a bit wailed out and he made some additional money. But if it wasn't for some of those days, Phil would have been in the low 3,000s. I mean, like it would have been like August numbers. But again, this is October, and don't forget, this is the hardcore gaming season. This is what Phil. So October, November. Well, technically September, October, November, December. Phil counts on those months to help the business and to make sure that his tips and the super chats bounce back, his memberships, and that he makes significant cash during those 4 months. That it will help him overall in the to his business, and that just has not happened this year. September was not good. October is worse, and really, what's coming in November? November we have Call of Duty, and that's kind of it. I'm guessing he's going to continue playing Mario Brothers, Spider-Man, and that's it. Because Alan Wake's going to be done soon, and yeah, I mean, so all this talk about all of these games and him having to spend money on new games is garbage. There's nothing really big out there. So we'll keep an eye on November, but I think November is going to be just as bad. Or maybe even worse than October. And let's not forget the memberships. When we last saw Phil's memberships dipped to about 430, right? He hasn't been streaming in 3 days. So he's probably under 400 now. He should be probably about 380, 395, somewhere around that bout. So he is going to be back to his membership numbers before gifted memberships became a thing. That means no channel growth for close to 2 years, for about 1.5 years for Phil. No channel growth whatsoever. That shit is not organic, and of course it lends to the belief that Phil is propped up by 3 to 5 people, and if it's not for those folks, Phil would need to get an actual job. He would. Okay, so the next thing we're going to take a look at here are the October views. So for October, Phil pulled in 501,000 views for DSP Gaming, which of course is a new low for DSP Gaming. And then for DSP Reacts, he pulled in 47,000 views, a new low for that channel. And you guys might say, well, he didn't stream for 2 days in October. Actually, is it 2 days? Yeah, 2 days. So he didn't stream on the 30th and the 31st. Okay, yeah, all right. But how many views is he pulling in per day? 15,000 views a day. So even if we add another 30,000 views, it would still be his low watermark for views. So for October, Phil pulled in 548,000 views. That's for a channel that has 200,000 members, and only pulling in 548,000 views for 2 channels is abysmal. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. There are channels that have 7,000 to 8,000 subs, and they make 600,000 views. There are detractors out there that just do podcasts, and they stream a couple days a week, and they make more than 548,000 views a month. That's god awful. And the thing too is that he pumps so much content out. He does about 9 videos a day. They're like hour-long videos, right? And that's just DSP Gaming. I'm not even counting all the trash on DSP Reacts. And he can't manage to pull in at least 1 million views. And the trend just keeps going. I mean, we've been tracking this since May, but even if you go back further, it's just been a significant decrease over and over. For 2022, he averaged about 700,000 views. And then in 2023, it just dipped under 600, and now it's back under the 500. So if this trend continues, we could just see it dipping more and more and more. And he could be in the 400s by the end of the year. And we say, well, it doesn't really matter because he relies on tips and super chats. No, it kind of does, because less viewers means less people on your channel, less people donating, less memberships, less people wailing out. So it is going to impact them, and of course, less ad revenue. Don't let Phil fool you. He does make some ad revenue, not a lot, but he makes some ad revenue every month, at least $1,500 to $2,000 in ad revenue. He makes about, for 548,000 views, he makes probably about $2,000 a month in ad revenue, right? So it's that versus, if he made, let's say, 1 million views, he'd probably get about $4,000. You get about $4,500 for about 1 million views on YouTube. So he's making less than half in ad revenue than he was last year. So don't let him fool you when he says ad revenue doesn't matter or views don't matter. Yes, it does. It does. It does matter for Phil. Okay, folks. So now let's take a look at the yearly totals for 2023 and compare them to 2024. So yet again, Phil took another hit and another dip here, folks. So for 2023, Phil has managed to make $44,795 in tips. Compare that to the same time period last year he made $55,431. Now, if you notice that once we got into September and October, those weekly numbers, they're getting bigger and bigger, because of course last year he made more money October, November, December, and that's not happening this year. So that gap in money that he's making is growing larger and larger every week. If you compare this year to last year in tips, he's down 19.5% in tips. That's right. That's some heavy cheddar. We're talking about $11,000 that Phil doesn't have for WWE champions. That's right, folks. And then for super chats this year, he's made $18,201 compared to last year, where he made $22,324 for a net decrease of 18.5%, negative 18.5%. And of course, again, that number increased. I mean, I think he was down 17% overall. That negative number has increased to 18.5. So if we look at for the grand total for 2023, Phil has pulled $62,996. Compare that to the same time period last year, where he pulled in $77,755 for a net decrease of negative 19%. That's right, folks. Negative 19% overall in the income. So in conclusion, the business is definitely in trouble. That's right, folks. And we say it over and over again. There are many factors of why this is the case. Phil's boring. Phil's content doesn't change. Phil is obnoxious. The whales have disappeared. DSP React is taking away from DSP Gaming. You name it. There's a corporaconia of excuses or reasons why Phil is failing. But the end result is the same. The business is in trouble, and especially now with the history days gone, the Beg-Pocalypse is going to be massive. We're going to hear every single day about how his sickness almost ruined the business and how he needs money for the 2 big bills and over. And it's going to be abysmal. It's going to be every single day. So let's prepare, and we'll be there to chronicle it. And yeah, so season 15 is just on fire. Big ups to the writers. We're appreciating all of the great content. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.